Why is it that Lululemon can sell you a pair of leggings for $100 plus, but you can get the same product off Amazon with the same quality and the same quote-unquote features at a fraction the cost? But why is Lululemon a multi-billion-dollar brand and the dupe brand is just a dupe brand? What is the difference here, and why do we gravitate towards specific brands, not based off of product but how they make us feel? This is called the psychology of selling, and as a aspiring fashion entrepreneur, you should know how to tap into the psyche of your potential customer to understand what triggers them to make a purchasing decision. When it comes to purchasing decisions, we have our emotional and we have our logical side. The emotional side is essentially what takes over 90% of the time when making a purchasing decision. Even if we do believe that we're making a logical and a rational decision, most times we're making an emotional decision and then we're using a logic and a reason to justify it after the fact. So people buy ultimately on aspiration, status, and identity. It's about what a product provides them in terms of an aspirational pull and what they feel. Also, what does that product allow them to identify as, and what status does that product give them? If we look at a luxury timepiece like a Rolex, ultimately if you were to break down that Rolex into its raw components, it's really not that much more expensive to manufacture than a high quality Seiko watch. If you were to compare apples to apples, you're really not getting that much more in terms of the quality of the product. What you are getting is you're getting an aspirational product that allows you to feel like you've achieved something in life and that you've come to a certain status and what it signifies to someone else. The same is going to be true in sportswear. We must use emotions to hack into our customers' perception of how they look at the brand and how they look at the product and make them want the product. So if we were to look at Gymshark, for example, Gymshark did a phenomenal job in the early 2010s to position the brand as an aspirational brand by associating Gymshark products with well-known fitness influencers at the time. What Gymshark did was it associated the product with the lifestyle of these fitness influencers. You can look at brands like Puff Bunny and Alphalete that really do a phenomenal job at creating a community vibe around their brand by allowing you to feel like you're tapping into something beyond just the clothing when you purchase from them. At the end of the day, you're not purchasing it specifically because of the theme or the concept, but the theme or the concept creates an emotional reaction within you that stirs inside a purchasing decision that is ultimately made. So the takeaway here is when you're selling a product, don't just focus on the product, the technical features, but what you want to do is you want to have your customers identify who they can become when they purchase your product. The second concept that you need to tap into is how clothes shape our confidence and how we view ourselves. There's a well-known phenomenon known as Enclothed cognition that essentially says how you dress and how you look on a specific day will have an impact on how you feel, how you perform, and how you interact in the world. There's a reason that I like to buy suits. I'm a huge sportswear guy. I love sportswear, but I also like to dress in suits. It's a little bit of how it makes me feel, how it allows me to present myself to the world, and ultimately that enclothed cognition pays back into my performance, into my ability to interact with others. At the end of the day, that's a feeling that you're selling. So focus on the feeling that you're creating. When you purchase a pair of $70, $80 ASRV technical shorts, what you're doing is you're purchasing that feeling of feeling like an elite level athlete, even though you may not be at that level. So the lesson to take away here and how you can apply this in your own business is to look at three things: is who's your customer? What's your customer avatar? What profile do they have? Ultimately, what are they looking for? Do you want them to feel like an elite level athlete? Do you want them to feel comfortable? Do you want them to feel confident? What message, when they wear your clothing, do you want your products to send to the world about your customer? Number three, you need to master social proof. And this is the influence of seeing others purchasing a specific product. At the end of the day, we rely on others and others' experiences to gauge how our experience might turn out. If we look at a specific brand and we see that they have horrible reviews, it's going to be very clear that we may just be the 61st horrible review that is waiting to happen. So we rely on others and the experiences that they've had in order to see where we might head. By showcasing a variety of different people that are all interacting and engaging with your brand, this shows that others have had a great experience. It's the same concept as word of mouth, except on an amplified scale. Number four, you need to tap into scarcity and exclusivity. People want what they ultimately cannot have. When something is unavailable, we think of what could be rather than what is. This strategic positioning of your products as exclusive, as limited, as rare can really play into your favor. This strategy is making sure to never overstock and to always make sure that your products can be sold out or to have a turnover rate at a healthy rate. So it's always good to have a healthy balance of inventory that's ready to sell so you can bring income in, and a healthy balance of products that are sold out and products that are unavailable and ready to be restocked. So scarcity really works in 3 key ways. Number 1 is increases your perceived value. When something is scarce, it means that many people have actually bought, which means that it is a valuable product. 2, it prevents the issue of having to mark down your products consistently. When demand is higher, you don't find yourself with an oversupply of product that you have to turn over, and ultimately you have to let go at a lower profit margin. And lastly, it forces your customers to act quickly because they know that in the future, they may not get the chance to check back in for that pair of leggings in a size medium because they know that it might not last. Next up is the idea of features. Do your customers really care about the technology and the features and the technical specs of a specific product? Well, both yes and no. Your technical features and the specs of a product can be part of your USPs, especially if you put research and development in to be able to set yourself apart from the competition. Let's look at Lululemon's Luon fabric, for example. Especially at the time, it was a pretty unique fabric based on all of the combinations of specifications that it had. But Lulu didn't go over the top in terms of explaining the technical features of the fabric. They focused on the sensations of the product and the end result. They sold the idea of what it's going to be like when you're actually enjoying the product rather than the features and the technical details of the product. So the main lesson here is that when you're selling a product, yes, put the technical features at the forefront, but avoid using overly technical words and jargon that might confuse your customers and distract from the main idea. The main idea is how that technical feature makes your customers feel. The last thing that you need to know is why people buy is much more important than what people buy. If you were to look at the main brands like Lululemon doesn't just sell you leggings. What they sell you is a premium fitness experience that is exclusive and that allows you to feel like you're aspiring to something bigger and better. So the takeaway here, and this is what I call as the reason of being, or le raison d'être, is what and why does your brand exist? What problem is it solving? And how does your specific brand align with your customers' expectations? So the next time you catch yourself spending $100 plus on a product that you could just get for half the price, understand that you're not being robbed. Understand what is at play is phenomenal and great marketing. And this should be rewarded. At the end of the day, what is the value of a brand? Is it just the clothing? Is it the fabrics? Is it the cost of the raw materials? Or is it something more? We have one chance on this earth. And the idea that brands and products can enhance and engage us in a different way, in a different level, is something that I truly believe should be rewarded. And you as an entrepreneur should be able to tap into that and to bring your own flavor of value and storytelling and an emotional response to the customers that will ultimately end up purchasing from you. If you enjoyed this video, please consider smashing a massive thumbs up. It really does help us out. It keeps us motivated to keep pumping out this content for you. And if you want to ask me for my one-on-one experience of how you can employ some of these emotional triggers into your own brand, well, check the link in the description. I offer one-on-one consultation calls every single week. Slots are limited, but I would be more than happy to hop on that call with you. And we can discuss how you can put some of these tactics into your next collection. Guys, I say this from the very bottom of my heart. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Fittdesign TV. Until next week's episode, stay awesome.